If you was to make this into a feature film, you would look at it like that's not true. There's no way that that happened.
Basketball star Chris Paul is about to discover that he has a kindred spirit in his family tree. His fourth-grade grandfather, a man named Peter Oliver. Chris had heard of Peter before. Indeed, he knew that his hometown of Winston-Salem had long been planning to name a park after him. But Chris wasn't sure what Peter had done to deserve such an honor. The answer lies in the archives of a North Carolina branch of the Moravian Church. In 1786, this church purchased Peter from a slave owner in Virginia and then baptized him, likely at his own request.
And who gives the name?
The Moravians.
Peter, the Moravians.
Yeah. Now, we don't know if he said, I want to be Peter, or if they said, your name is Peter.
But he got the name from the Moravians.
Yeah, in that moment of baptism. Initially, he was known simply as Negro Oliver. Then when he's baptized, he takes on the Christian name Peter. And after 1786, he's known as Peter Oliver. How do you think he felt that day?
Probably felt about as normal as he possibly could.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, as normal as you could in 1786.
Mm-hmm.
But to actually have a name and not be called Negro,
right.
It's wild.
The Moravians were unusual in that they allowed enslaved people into their congregations and treated them as religious, if not necessarily as social equals, providing opportunities generally unavailable to other enslaved people. For Peter, these opportunities would prove life-changing. Roughly a year after his baptism, he was purchased by a master potter named Rudolf Christ. Pottery was a valuable craft at the time, and Peter would rapidly excel at it, becoming one of the only documented African-American potters of his era in all of North Carolina.
This is wild.
What's it like to see that?
Man, it's just so much connectivity, right? And you realize everything happens for a reason, and the stories that we sort of all tell about ourselves, we're always connected to something that came before us, and it's amazing to hear, right? Like, this is a different connection with Peter Oliver than just sort of like a park being renamed in our hometown. Even though I wasn't in slavery or anything like that, like the way he used pottery is kind of how I looked at the game of basketball.
That's right.
You know what I mean? And it's been able to take me and my family outside of our hometown and show us the world.
A skill at which he excelled.
Yep.
And which the society placed value on.
For sure.
Moravian records show that by 1799, after just 13 years in their congregation, Peter had not only mastered pottery, he'd also joined a choir and a firefighting team. And he'd done something else as well, something that must have required extraordinary effort. Chris, he'd also learned to read and write.
He was different.
He's a bad brother, man.
Yeah. Especially because reading and writing was sort of forbidden. So when it makes you wonder, when was that taking place? Who was teaching him?
Right. Well, his master was saying, obviously, he's so bright, let's teach him to read and write.
Right.
He probably said, look, I'm more valuable to you if you let me learn to read or write.
For sure.
You know, did the rope-a-dope on him.
We didn't have time to do all this.
Unfortunately, despite everything he'd accomplished, Peter remained enslaved. But that was about to change. In 1800, he was sold yet again, this time to a Moravian man who lived in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. And we believe that Peter himself pushed for this sale.
So why the Pennsylvania?
Please turn the page. Chris, you're looking at an amazing document. It's an affidavit presented to a man named Frederick Kuhn, one of the associate judges in Lancaster County. Would you please read that transcribed section?
Peter Oliver verily believes that he is entitled to his freedom by virtue of the laws of Pennsylvania, having been held as a slave by virtue of the said bill of sale in this commonwealth, and that deponent is not confined or restrained of his liberty for any other cause whatsoever, and further saith not. Signed, Peter Oliver, sworn before me, June 13, 1800.
He goes to a judge and says, Your Honor, I believe that I am a free man in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania.
And that was part of probably why he got sold up to
Bingo.
Pennsylvania.
That's right.
Right.
They were enabling his freedom.
Yep.
Because Pennsylvania had abolished slavery.
Had abolished slavery.
Right. And North Carolina didn't abolish slavery till the Civil War made it abolish slavery.
They did him basically a favor in selling him
That's right.
up north.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, absolutely.
What do you make of this?
What he demonstrated is exactly why they put in a park and all of that
Yes.
in Winston.
Yes.
You know, and the importance of this is, I mean, I remember my mom getting on Zooms with the family members or whatnot, talking about Peter Oliver and me. I'd be like, okay, you know, but you don't know what you don't know.
No, of course.
Right? So
Yeah.
to hear all of the information that I heard today makes me understand why. Yeah, he was a go-getter.
Discovering our ancestors can change our lives, helping us to understand more fully who we are, where we came from, and how we're all connected to a much larger world. To see more incredible family history stories, click here. And thank you for watching.